Hello there, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be reviewing another Sephora palette. This is the Editorial one. I did review the Cool palette about a couple weeks ago, and I finally got to the Editorial. This is what it looks like. Pretty much the same type of packaging, except it just has the blue lettering on it, but it does have that sturdy feel to it, but it is the black plastic that Sephora does use. I'm sure this isn't a surprise to anyone who's used the Sephora products. I do want to apologize. I have a photo bomber in the back. My cat wants to take a nap, and I'm just not cruel enough to kick her out of the camera, so bear with it. She may be a little, hopefully she won't be distracting, because she is really cute. But, so yes, so what I'm going to do is an eye look. Now, what's interesting about this palette is it is extremely bright. Yes. And the thing is, I do use color, but there's color palettes and then there's this, which is extreme. It really is, as you can see, there's some really beautiful colors, but if you're afraid to be using colored eyeshadow, this may not be the palette for you, because this is not for the faint of heart. So what I'm going to do is try to do an eye look with this, and this is going to be crazy because I don't normally go for colors quite this bright, but it's going to be fun. So let's give it a try. So the first thing I'm going to do is prep the eye area. I always like to do that just for me because I think it does make it a little bit more smooth. Now I will point out, I know better than this with the Cool palette. You have to go in very gently, and I didn't. And you can already see there's fallout right there. So that's tended to be kind of a theme with this palette, so just be wary. Try to clean that. Yeah, the fallout is real, my friends. It is real. What I'm finding is that this white is not the most opaque. At least, you know, it looks really opaque in the palette, but it's not. I am going to go in a little bit more bold with this pink, and I'm just going to do a light tap. Whew, and it already has coated my brush. Yeah, just a very light tap will do ya. So what I'm going to do is go with this kind of green here. It's like this greeny gold color. I'm just curious to see how it'll work. I'm not going for the overly bold colors, as you can see. That doesn't tend to be my style, but you definitely can go do it. But let's try this. That's a really pretty color, actually. But what I'm going to do is just cool it down a little bit with this. Now this isn't showing up that well, and it's this color right here, but I've been told that they're toppers. So they're not supposed to be opaque, but they're really, really soft actually, and there's kind of some fallout on that because of it. It is really soft and almost kind of oily consistency. Not oily, but it kind of looks like that. So let's put this on top and see what it does. So these definitely, these topper colors, as they call them, actually do better on top of other eyeshadow. So if you're trying to use them alone, there's going to be more difficulty. So it really is better to put down a base shadow and then put it on top, and it kind of changes the appearance of it, which you can see on my eyes. So what I'm going to do is go for this dark purple color right here, tap it lightly, because I do have really fair skin, so it makes it challenging, and use it in the crease. Now I really didn't expect to like this purple as much as I do, but it's really lovely. So what I'm going to do is go in with the darker. I still haven't found my good brush. I may have to go order another one, so I'm still using this double one that I got from Lorac. I know, I think my cat probably tossed it around, and I'll find it like when I move. But so I'm going to go back in with this dark color and finish off the corner V a little bit more to give it more depth. Then what I'm going to do is put some white in the corner here, and you will see why. Because you really can't lay down these colors, these toppers, without something to kind of anchor it down. So I'm going to use the white and then add this blue, because I started with this green, but then I added a little bit of this blue shimmer on top because I felt it matched the purple better. and then I'm going to bring it down in the corner. So what I feel like is it's missing a little pop of color, and this is a very colorful palette. So I'm going to take a little bit of this mixed with this color here that I used on the crease after the original color and just go under the eyes. So this is the look that I wanted to go for. So what I'm going to do is finish this eye look up because it feels a little bit naked still, and I will get right back to you. Okay, so I am back. This is the final look, and I want to say I survived the Editorial palette. And what I mean by that is this palette can be a little bit intimidating, even for myself. When I received it and I opened it up and I looked at all these colors, you know, it was a lot to take in. I mean, I knew what I was getting into when I saw the pictures online. I got excited and was like, yeah, I gotta have this. But it is intimidating, especially if you're not used to working with bold colors, or you are a fair-skinned person like myself, and colors like this can be a little bit overwhelming or hard to work with because it's like working with the white canvas and you're going all Salvador Dali on your face with these because they are really bright. And with somebody my skin tone, it is like a white canvas. So it can be a little bit difficult sometimes to work with colors like this. But for you people out there who have fair skin, I just want to point out you can make it work. When you saw the way that I was working through the look at the beginning, I was dipping lightly into each of these colors to get the color that I wanted and slowly built them up. Now here's the thing. Even if you don't have fair skin, I do want to say you do, with my experience with the Cool palette and already digging in with this one a little bit, even still, any skin tone, go into these pans lightly because there is a lot of fallout on these. And it just appears to be the way that all three of these palettes are made, though I don't have the warm palette, so I can't really speak for it, but this one is the same kind of consistency as the Cool palette, and they are both kind of powdery. So just be wary of that, especially because they are very pigmented, and if you go in with a rough brush stroke, then you're really going to get a lot of that pigment onto your brush, and it is going to be a disaster. So go in there lightly and then just build it up. But if you are fair like myself, just make sure you go in really lightly so you can slowly build it up the way you want, because these colors can be a little bit overwhelming. But I think this is the look that I got. I think that it's very wearable. At first I wasn't sure if I'd be able to create a wearable look unless I was always going for a dramatic look, but you can. You absolutely can with these colors, and I think I achieved that. Nobody's going to stare at me on the street and go, wow. Which, you know what, if that is your intention, then this is the palette for you, because people will go, wow, because these are just absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to do is swatch these next, so you can see what the different colors look like, and then I will go on to my final review. So, going on the first row, and I do wipe my fingers in between, so there will be a lot of pauses just because I don't want to mix the colors. These are more of the like opal kind of topping shades, as you can kind of see. Very pretty. And I'll also be putting these to the side as well with close-ups. Maybe as I'm doing this, I never know what I'm doing until I'm editing, but there will be this will happen a few times so you can see it up close and personal. Okay. Okay, sorry, I wanted to take a look at those to make sure they're going on okay. Right there, because I kind of missed it. But the last two colors are the topper colors, and those are the two here, and I'm wearing the blue one on top of my lid. So what I didn't realize with the Cool palette is it also had a couple of these, and a lovely lady put in the comments, Binky, they're toppers and they're not supposed to be worn by themselves, and she is right, absolutely right. So what you do is you put down one of these shadows and then you put the topper on top, and that's basically what I did. Is I took this white and then I took this blue on my lid and then I did the blue on top of it, and it created this this wonderful shimmer on it. So that is how you make those work. They do not work alone. Be wary of that. There they are. They don't work alone. And once you realize that and you use them in the correct way, they actually work really well. I think some people were just using them and going, they don't work well, they don't build up well. They don't. They're made to go on top of other shadows. And what I love about them, actually, now that I understand how to use them, is that they really do change the look of it. So it adds like that shimmer on top of it. Well, this one's white or kind of silver white, and then this one's blue. And it just changes the look and makes it a little bit more, have more depth to it and a little bit more sparkle, which I love. What I will say about these two is that they are oilier in consistency. So that may throw you off, but when you put them on, and you can kind of see, is that they have this oily consistency. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what makes them work. Also, the white one here tends to have a lot of fallout, so be careful, because I've gone into it a few times and there's already a little bit of a dent, but you can definitely see that oily kind of mixture in it to make it work its magic. But now that you know what it is and how it works, you'll understand those parts of the palette more, because I finally did, because I had no clue what was happening. I'm like, these shadows are terrible, and not realizing what they were intended for. So I'm going to go on to the second row, getting into the oranges and red colors. Yeah, these really docile ones. Look at that. I know, it is insane. It's just crazy. And know that the staining is real, my friends. It is, I mean, these are definitely going to stain, so you're definitely going to want to use a good primer. I'm sure they'll wash off easy with water, soap and water, but you know, these are bold, so just wear a decent primer and just know that there's going to be a little bit of staining. Okay, so on to the purples. It's just crazy. The circus has come to town. This is absolutely fabulous, and I mean that in a great way. It's just, these colors are bright and really exciting and just so much fun, especially for this time of year. These are fabulous. Okay, so moving on to the third row, which is a lot of the greens and the blues. Okay, and this one had a little bit picking up the color. I got some there, but yeah, it took a little. Same with these. So these two are a little bit more powdery, and it takes a little bit more to pick up the color. Let's see how they swatch though. Move up a little closer. So this one's a little hard to see, but I think it's supposed to be like that. It's kind of this very light, like, it's not, well, a little bit like a minty green, but so it is a little bit harder to see, but it's absolutely beautiful color. It's more of a shimmer anyway, so I don't think it's supposed to be overwhelming, but partially on my skin, you know, it's just very pale, but it's beautiful. Then on to the darkest of this row. Pigmentation is back. This is the first time I've seen them swatched as well, so I keep staring at my arm. These are really beautiful. These are beautiful blues. You can see there's a little bit of patchiness every once in a while, especially with this dark blue here. It is a little bit patchy. It's gorgeous, but you know, you're gonna have to work it a little bit more, along with the one next to it. Whoops, almost put it in the wrong spot. These two, you know, a little bit patchy, but they will go on. You're just going to have to build them up. I think out of all of them, this row is a little bit more tricky. They're good formula, but because there just seems to be not as intense as the last two rows, so you're just going to have to build them up a little bit, but they're not quite, they're good quality. It's just, I'm just finding that putting them on, they are a little bit more patchier. And on to the final row. So these are more of the browns and some greens. Now this one actually has the same consistency of these, so I think this one is a topper as well. So it has a little bit of glitter in it that you can definitely feel. Ooh, this one, oh, as you can see, look at the fallout on that. I tapped it in the same amount and I took out half a chunk, and it just kind of crumbled a little bit, so be cautious with that one. Yeah, I didn't expect that one, but here you go. You'll probably see it when I put it on my arm to swatch, but here we are. That's the topper. It actually laid down better than I thought it would, but yeah, just be careful with that fourth one in, because it really crumbled when I put my finger into it, so it's really, really soft. So it's not a dry crumble, it's more soft, and then it just doesn't stick together well, and so it kind of crumbles under the pressure. So the last three. Wow, look at that black. That's pretty crazy, I can tell already. Whew, I went nuts with black, just put it across. It's like explanation point at the end of a fabulous sentence. So yeah, very fall inspired colors here, which is perfect because sadly for me it'll be around the corner. But yeah, this is what they look like. Now I'd like to hit that fourth one a little bit more. That's the one that gave me, oof, the trouble, and it still is. It definitely will go down well. It's just even heading back into it, I don't trust it. I just feel like it's going to completely fall out of the palette, which is a little unnerving. But once you get it down, it works really well. The consistency is a little bit different than the rest of them. So yes, this is an extreme palette. As you can see, this is not for the faint of heart. As I've said, these are very bold colors. But I don't want to necessarily say the thing is, even with bold colors, you can make them work. I don't tend to use a lot of bold colors on my eyes. Well, I go through phases, and I'm kind of in the phase of bolder lip color, lighter eye color, and even I could make these work with my skin tone, which picks up everything. You just have to go in with a light hand, and you can create these beautiful looks, and you can make them extremely bold, or you can pull back and do them lightly and make a very wearable eye color. And that's what I like about this, is it's very versatile, and so you shouldn't be intimidated by it because it does work. What's interesting though is there's not a lot of transition colors, so if you just want to do a pop on the lid or in the corner, you're going to have to bring in another palette, which I don't mind. I think it was just supposed to be intended to be used kind of by itself with just bold colors and creating a statement piece. But if that's just not your style, and you definitely want these colors because you find them interesting, because you have so many fabulous colors in one palette here, it's very easy to do. You know, just bring in another palette for a more neutral crease color and corner color, and you're going to be fine. And you can use these as pops of color, or you can use them underneath your lash line to make a statement as well. So don't be intimidated by these, because I was. When I opened this, I'm like, how am I going to be able to use this? I was like, should I just return this? But that's not my way. I'm not the type to crumble that easily, and I'm glad I didn't, because I'm actually really happy with this, and I am definitely going to keep it and use it. When I was using it on my eye, I felt like it was really user-friendly. I do. Yes, these are more powdery, so you have to go in with a very gentle touch, but they blend so well. I just find them so blendable when you're putting them on, which is what you want, especially with bold colors like this. You don't want them not moving well. You don't want them just laying on top or just streaking on your eye, and that wasn't the case with this. So some people may be saying there's a lot of fallout, but I actually don't mind it because it shows how soft it is and powdery, which is going to make it easier to blend, especially if you're doing a crease look with a brighter color. What I will say is that if you're big into the crease cut look, these are going to be fabulous, because these are really bold and these are going to make a statement. Now, I can't really say how well the wear time is. I have worn the Cool palette a few times. I'd like to start wearing it a little bit more, but what I have found, I have oily skin, so shadow doesn't tend to last as long on me, even if I prep my eye a specific way, which I'll put below in the description box. It's trying to stop the oil from seeping in. These held up pretty well, but in the end, if you have oily skin, they did end up absorbing that oil, and that's what happens with my eyes, is that the color will change over time. You can see that the oil's kind of attacked it a little bit. This did end up happening about 6 hours in with this, but I do want to state that I only primed my eye with one primer, and I like to try 4 or 5 different ones that I have to see if it will withstand the oil with the different ones. So I haven't tested it as far as that goes. The wear time was wonderful. The shadow was still there at the end of the day. It's just you could tell that the oil did get to it. And with certain brands like Lorac or Anastasia Beverly Hills, when I use those two, they don't tend to do that on my eyes. but this one did a little bit, but I don't want to go in too much into that because I didn't test it. Sometimes I like to test shadow palettes for a week using different primers before I make that analysis on it, just because I don't think it's fair. But with the one that I did use, which is Tarte, it did bleed through a little bit after 6 hours, but the shadow was still there. You can just see it had a little bit of not fading, but gone a couple shades darker because of that oil. So do I love this palette? Yes, I do. Originally, I was really intimidated. I really seriously was thinking of returning it. I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm glad I stuck with it, because this is the area that makes everybody nervous, I think, is because they're just so bright. But these are just normal standard like fall colors, and these are wonderful for spring and summer. And that's what I like about this palette, is that, and then with these dark colors, you can use it into winter. It's just user friendly for everyone. Even these light shades, because I sometimes feel like things could be a little bit overwhelming for us light skin tone people. Now these are a little bit iridescent, like satin colors, and I did already swatch those, but I just want to do it again because these may be a difficult sell for some people, especially if you have a darker skin tone. They don't necessarily have the best pigmentation, but I don't think they're supposed to. And this is where the toppers would come in. So if you took the blue and you put it over this blue here, it shows up a little bit better. So the topper would come in, and then you use it here on this pink. I'm just going to use it right here, and then it adds more of a shimmer to it. It's kind of hard to see, and it's not necessarily something that's drastic, but you know, it's definitely what it's supposed to be used for and how it works. It's not supposed to be, you know, earth-shattering, but it works really well, and you can definitely use it over the mattes as well to create a more dramatic, shiny, sparkly look to it. But I just think for the most part, you know, because certain colors aren't necessarily going to work on my skin tone, but these will. So these are this row is really great for you fair ladies out there, and then here anyone can use, but especially for you if you have a darker complexion, oh my gosh, these are going to show up so beautifully on you. It's just the contrast is just going to be so gorgeous. So I absolutely love this palette because I think it is user friendly for warm tones, especially here in this area, for cool tones thanks to a few of these shadows in here, and you neutral girls as usual are always lucky. But you know, it's just a smart palette because it works for warm tones, cool tones, fair skin, dark skin, everything in between, and I just absolutely love it. Having worn it, and this was the first time that I worked with it, again, I feel like it's really easy to work with. But my advice, as always, is go in lightly because there is fallout. And this guy, just be really careful because it's really soft. It's like butter, and it just, yeah. So it's a beautiful color. It's just I was really shocked by that. But the rest of it, it does have fallout. So just be careful with it, and you shouldn't have a problem with it. I know some people don't like the fallout. I actually don't mind it because I know now to go in lightly, and it makes it more blendable that way. You know, if it wasn't as powdery with colors this bright, I'm wondering if it would have blended into the eye as much as it did. So I will gladly take that than have something that doesn't move at all with such bright colors like this. And also what I like, I just closed it, but what I also like is, though this isn't as opaque as I would like, this white here, it is absolutely fabulous, and I'm glad they added it, because if you add a little bit too much crease color, which I was trying to spread it out a little bit better, I used this white with the pink, and it just softened it up and got rid of those edges and just fixed it up and made it more usable. So this, I love this palette. I will not give it away. I wasn't going to give it away. I actually was thinking of returning it, and I will not. I'm actually excited to have this. I love this. Along with the cool tone, I think these are great, solid palettes. I'm hoping they will keep them in the permanent collection. I don't know, but I almost think it would be smart to keep them in the permanent collection. And if they do, or if these last, and you happen to have belong to one of the Sephora VIB or the Rouge, then you might be able to pick this up at a discount when the holidays come around, if it's still here. But I'd love to see it make it to the main line, and then you could get it at a discount and try it out yourself. But I even think it's worth it now. I do. It's $68 for 28 shades. And these aren't small pans. You know, some of them are small, like Lorax tend to be a little bit smaller. These are large pans. That is a lot of shadow. So yes, it is an investment, but especially with the pigmentation of these bright colors, it is going to last you for a long time. Just dip it in there and go, and you will have this palette. You'll be able to will it to your grandchildren. So yes, big thumbs up to the Sephora Editorial palette. And until next time, have a fabulous week. Bye.